Oh, you're here? He's gonna love that. Whether you're blowing off responsibility or blowing out birthday candles, I'm glad you found another episode of Coffee with Dubs.
You know, it's strange getting older because when you're young, birthdays feel gigantic. Everything feels like a milestone. You count the years aggressively. You can't wait to become the next age because every number feels like progress toward becoming somebody. Then, somewhere along the line, birthdays start feeling quieter. Less about becoming and more about understanding. In 4 days, I'm gonna be 43 years old. Now, realistically, that's not some giant landmark birthday people throw huge parties for. It's not 21, it's not 30, it's definitely not 50. It exists in the weird middle ground where life is clearly moved forward, but you're still figuring yourself out in ways you thought could be settled by now. And honestly, I think that realization humbles people a little. Because when you're younger, you assume adulthood eventually arrives fully assembled. Like one day you wake up and suddenly you feel complete, certain, emotionally organized, wise, stable, all of it. But the older you get, the more you realize adulthood is mostly adaptation. Learning, adjusting, reframing, growing into newer versions of yourself over and over again while quietly grieving older versions you thought would be forever. Today, I'm feeling kind of wrapped up in that energy. It's my day off, I'm out walking the dogs, and later my mother-in-law is going to be up for the weekend. So I've got things to work on around the house, the mural's still evolving, life keeps on moving in all these crazy ordinary directions simultaneously. And somewhere inside all that movement, I've been realizing I'm entering a different phase of my life now. Not old, but no longer pretending I'm young in the same way either. And surprisingly, I don't think that's depressing anymore. I think acceptance changes the emotional texture of aging, because younger people often treat aging like loss. But I'm starting to think aging is more like refinement. You stop chasing certain things. You stop needing certain validations. You stop trying to force yourself into rooms, relationships, conversations, and identities that don't fit you anymore. And little by little, life becomes less about proving yourself, more about understanding yourself. It's a quieter kind of growth, but maybe that's a healthier one too. Because at 43, I'm realizing peace matters more than performance now. Presence matters more than appearances, and meaning matters a lot more than momentum. And that doesn't mean that ambition disappears. It just changes shape. You stop wanting everything, you start wanting what actually matters in life. Time with family, good conversations, creative fulfillment, health, moments outside with the dogs, a peaceful home, projects that leave something meaningful behind, people you can trust, and a nervous system that isn't constantly overloaded. And that starts becoming the real wealth. I think birthdays eventually become less about the number itself and more about taking inventory of who you're becoming while the years quietly stack behind you. Because the truth is, life doesn't slow down while you're figuring yourself out. One day, you're young, and that version of you is got an image of what you should look like as an adult. And then suddenly, you're standing inside, looking outward, wondering how the hell the time moved so fast. But maybe that's why days like today matter. The slower ones, the reflective ones, the ordinary ones. Because they give you a chance to actually notice your life while it's happening instead of constantly sprinting through it, trying to reach some future version of happiness. And maybe that's the lesson I'm learning at 43. Life is probably never going to fully settle into perfect certainty. There's always going to be unfinished things, responsibilities, questions, adjustments that have to be made, new versions of myself that are going to be further down the road. But maybe peace comes from learning how to walk beside those realities instead of constantly fighting them. Because growing older is unavoidable. Growing wiser is optional. And I think maybe after all these years, I'm finally starting to understand the difference. So if you're starting to understand it yourself, I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of Coffee with Dubs.